Hello and welcome to Government with Dr. Turner. Today we're going to describe different techniques used to gauge public opinion. Before scientific polls, politicians talked to and listened to their constituents. One advantage of direct contact between elected officials and the public versus the use of public opinion polls is that direct contact makes it less likely that certain public concerns will be overlooked. Unfortunately, there was also a disadvantage of direct contact. The elected officials only heard from those who chose to attend a town hall or other type of meeting, so they didn't have a complete picture of what all their constituents thought about the issues. The primary way to find out public opinion is to interview a sample to estimate opinions of the population. The portion of the population selected to participate in a poll is known as the sample. Laws of probability tell us that opinions of randomly selected individuals will approximate opinions of the population as a whole. The only alternative would be to ask everyone in the entire population, and that would be too expensive and take much too long. Choosing the best sample from the population is supremely important to the accuracy of the poll. We can conclude from the history of polling that polls are reliable only when the sample is large enough and chosen properly. When a sample is not chosen scientifically, it has a problem of sample bias. This is essentially what is happening when a politician meets with the public. Nobody knows why that particular group of people chose to show up at the political event. When politicians try to determine public opinion by listening to their supporters and friendly interest groups, they are likely to face the problem of sample bias. The key factors in determining the accuracy of an opinion poll are the size of the sample and whether the sample was selected from the population by a random method. The accuracy of a poll is usually expressed in terms of sampling error, which is shown as a plus or minus percentage. Sampling error refers to the number that indicates within what range the results of a poll are accurate. The relationship between sample size and sampling error is the larger the sample, the smaller the sampling error will be. You can reduce sampling error by interviewing a larger sample of the population. But as the sample size grows, so does the cost of conducting the poll. And also as the sample size grows, the amount that sampling error is reduced gets smaller. Eventually, one reaches a point where it is no longer cost-effective to increase the sample size. Opinion polls are not without problems. Most polls are conducted by phone, but this has been complicated by the growing use of cell phones and declining use of landlines. When people are asked about unfamiliar issues, they tend to make up answers. Not all respondents are truthful in their answers. Sometimes respondents report what they expect the interviewer wishes to hear or whatever they think is socially acceptable, rather than what they actually believe or know to be true. Despite these issues, the poll is the most relied upon method to find out public opinion. Several types of opinion polls are conducted, especially in reference to election campaigns. A benchmark poll is usually the first poll to be conducted. It is designed to obtain an initial understanding of where the candidate stands with voters and what voters' main concerns are. Benchmark polls are instrumental in designing campaign strategy. Tracking polls are used by campaigns to detect changes in voter attitudes during presidential races. They accomplish this by being repeated with the same group of people to measure changes in opinion or knowledge. The type of poll that would be most helpful to a network seeking to call a race before the votes have been officially tallied is an exit poll. These polls are very simple. As people exit the voting location, they are asked who they voted for. Let's review. One advantage of direct contact between elected officials and the public versus the use of public opinion polls is that direct contact makes it less likely that certain public concerns will be overlooked. The portion of the population selected to participate in a poll is known as the sample. The relationship between sample size and sampling error is the larger the sample, the smaller the sampling error will be. When politicians try to determine public opinion by listening to their supporters and friendly interest groups, they are likely to face the problem of sample bias. Sampling error refers to a number that indicates within what range the results of a poll are accurate.